right, today we're going to talk a little bit about leaders. A lot of people get confused on leaders and what the actual purpose is and why certain things are so important. Right here, I have a couple things that are really unique to leaders. One is you have a full leader material that is PowerFlex, usually monofilament or fluorocarbon. And then you have these poly leaders. Poly leaders are much more supple material. They're usually typically used for dry fly fishing, and they have a tippet loop on the end. So Monic makes them, Airflow, a couple companies make them. But the idea is that you have this tapered, very supple, soft landing leader that also floats much better. The density is a little lower. The traditional ones are thinner. They are a little bit denser. And on the taper leaders, you can add line to the tippet ring to make it an extension and keep that tapered extension with, 3 to 10 inches of tippet. And then you usually give you a weight for your tippet that you're adding based upon what the strength of the tippet loop is. You can do a knot connection on your leaders, and you can also add a tippet ring on the end of your leaders here as well. Personally, I prefer the poly leaders for dry fly fishing. I feel that the extra float and suppleness of the line really gives you a great presentation, allows you to even add slack into the leader, as it'll carry energy sometimes a little bit better than the other monofilament and fluorocarbon leaders. But for nymphing, a fluorocarbon leader for me is the best bet. Now, European style nymphing, you may build your own leader. It might be significantly longer and have other elements in it, but it's virtually the same. The thing that we want to take into consideration is when you're building a leader, it has to be a butt section tapered through to the end. That means it has to be fatter at the butt section all the way through, and thinner at the other end, the end of the leader. What happens to most people, and they ask this quite regularly, is, well, can I just put a piece of tippet on? You can put a piece of tippet on, but the tippet has to be finer than the piece of leader above it, or the same size. And the reason being is you have to maintain that transfer of energy. If you don't have that, you're going to get a weak spot in your leader and lose contact with your flies. So the leader will be stiff, transferring energy. And if you have a very soft spot and then a very heavy spot, those two are going to defeat each other, and they're going to lose the energy, and the energy will not be enough to push that heavier piece of leader on the end and cause that loop to unravel and place your fly. Now, there are substitutes to that. Bite leaders, for example, a very odd substitute where it's a thicker line at the end and it's going to change things, but that's different for the application that you need. So you have to be aware of that. But when you're talking general fly fishing, in most cases, you really need a larger butt section than a finer tip section, and it has to taper from end to end so that you can continue that transfer of energy. So keep that in mind when you're tying your leaders, either building them yourselves or adding tippet to your line. Always maintain a smaller diameter the further you go out from the butt section. If you do that, you're going to start to see dramatic changes to your casting ability and improvement in your fly presentation. Good luck out there.